that improving interactions between law enforcement and people with autism is now on the governor's desk. Senate Bill 418 would create a new blue envelope or card program for drivers on the autism spectrum. This blue envelope or card would hold a driver's license, registration, insurance, and emergency contact info so that during an interaction with law enforcement, such as a traffic stop, a person with autism could hand it to an officer. If passed, people on the autism spectrum would be able to request the blue envelope or card from the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles or the tax collector's office. The bill would also expand law enforcement training on autism spectrum disorder through an in-person recruiting course. In May, Hamilton County launched a similar initiative. It's called the Guardian Alert Autism Awareness Vehicle Program, with card decals that read "Possible Occupant with Autism." Officials say the decals are meant to help first responders during traffic stops and emergencies. Hamilton County Sheriff Brian Creech says the decals communicate that someone in the vehicle may have unique communication needs, sensory sensitivities, or may respond differently under stress. He says that allows deputies and emergency personnel to handle each situation with greater understanding and care. The decals are for pickup at the sheriff's office. They are free to anyone and no information is required.